All right. For those of you who don't know, I'm Becky Van Loon. I'm the National Relay for Life lead, and I am happy to welcome you all to tonight's training, ceremony best practices for ELTs. And your speakers for the evening are Suzy Lawrence and Amy Nolan, and I will let them introduce themselves and just, I'll be monitoring the chat, so we'll get your questions answered as soon as we can. All right, take it over, ladies. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. Appreciate you being on and helping us out with all things technical. Welcome, everyone. So happy to see everybody on tonight. We're excited about this one. There's some really cool stuff we're going to share with you. If you don't mind putting in the chat where you're from, just so we can keep up with everybody. As Becky said, I'm Suzy Lawrence. I'm a leadership volunteer, currently serving on the National Relay Leadership and part of the training team. I live in Roanoke, Virginia. I've been relaying for 31 years. And yes, I started when I was 12. And you all know that's not true, but I always like that line. And happy to have Becky on the call with us tonight. She is the lead volunteer for the National Relay Leadership Team. So very excited to have her. I'm joined by one of my exceptional staff partners tonight, Amy Nolan, and I'll let Amy introduce herself.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Nolan, and I am a strategic director for community fundraising in the Northeast region. I hail from New Jersey. Oh, somebody just said Atlantic County, New Jersey, fellow Jersey girl here. And I've been with the American Cancer Society for, I just passed 15 years last month, which is very exciting. And also proud to say that since the day I started with the American Cancer Society, I have been a relayer. So I've also been a relayer for over 15 years, leading. I'm the team captain for my family team at my hometown event every year, and just excited to be here with everyone.
Cool. Thank you, Amy. 15 years. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. It's been such a pleasure working with Amy on this too. So I'm very blessed to have her as my partner. Just a couple of things we wanted to remind you about before we get into the crux of everything. We have the challenge of the 40 years of impact coming up on April 7th through the 10th. And that's raise $100 and get a $40 bonus in Relay Rewards points. And it can be used to redeem this cool commemorative sticker that's shown on the slide, the circular one. And the top 2 Relay for Life events in each category with the most participants raising $100 during the challenge will win a brand new 5-foot inflatable relay letters display. So you can see that on the right-hand side. So pretty cool, this challenge. Looking forward to it. That the relay inflatables are new to any of the awards that we've given out. So we're really excited to see that and see which teams and events can, not teams, events can win that. So there'll be a different competition or separate competition for the campus events, and they'll be winning the inflatable too. So cool to have that with our community and collegiate events.
Oh, Suzy, you're muted.
Thank you. Yes.
Sure.
So the next slide, please, Amy. We wanted to remind everybody or let everybody know that the pop-up shop is up and running right now. And I think it runs through next week, maybe. I'm not exactly sure when it ends, but we have Relay Rewards, and we can also shop for ACS stuff. Amy's putting the link here in the chat, but also other cool collateral stuff. I wore my shirt today, got it from the pop-up store the last time or time before. Somehow I always end up spending at least $100, and I have already put my order in with this batch of goodies. So wanted everybody to know there's some really neat things in there. I like polos, so can get polos, nice cool sweatshirts. The bags are really great too. And hopefully the next pop-up store, they'll have the rain jacket again, and it is really great. So I can highly recommend that. So hopefully you can shop and wear your relay swag proudly and let everybody know that we're volunteer for the American Cancer Society. All right, so let's get started on ceremonies and best practices while we're here. Um, there's, there's a good slide that Amy has put together for us, but there's just some things I wanted to talk about that we kind of think of best practices. Some of them are in here. There's really some neat materials that we have ready that um, Amy and her work team have put together that we're going to get to next. But the things like that come to mind as Amy and I were talking through it is, first and foremost, plan ahead, prepare in advance, maybe look out at least a month in advance, or anytime, maybe as you're going through your season, just start writing down things that you think might be good for a ceremony. Think about speakers that you would like to have. Think about, your sound system. Make sure your sound system is good, that everybody's going to hear it. Make sure that people know when the ceremonies are going to be. Have a schedule in advance and try to, as best you can, stick to that. And if you're not going to, have your MC announce it. Opening ceremony may be the first touch of relay for some attendees, and it's our own opportunity to connect with them and hook them. We know we'll get them, especially when we have our survivor and caregiver lab and Luminaria, but the ceremonies is your first impression lots of times. So we know how important it is to make that good first impression. There's multiple ceremonies that you can have. You can make them however you want to have them for your event. Make it your own, make it customized to your event. And don't be afraid to change things up. Birthday parties change as kids get older, and they aren't the same because they need to stay relevant for that time. And our ceremonies need to be refreshed and stay relevant. And, it doesn't mean we have to ditch the beloved things that we may have in our ceremonies, but incorporate new aspects and make sure that you keep them on time. And I would say, try to keep them as brief as possible too. I always wondered, we would have our opening ceremony in the heat of the afternoon and have our survivors standing there. And it was like, they don't need to be standing out in the sun for 20 minutes when they're not going to be asked to take their first lap, until that 20-minute. So keep that in mind, and think about it as you're setting it up, and maybe have some seating areas for the survivors, or some shade area, something, or don't call them to the front until it's absolutely necessary. And one thing that I do, if I'm doing a printed copy of a script, I want to make sure I have multiple copies of it, and then I always email it to myself. So in case anything goes wrong, I can pull it up on phone or iPad, and then put a copy somewhere else, maybe in the car. So at least it's safe and you can get to it. But that's just some things that I think about. If you have a ceremony leads or an MC, make sure they see the script early so they can be prepared and they can put things into their own words, especially if they haven't been a part of developing the script. Make sure that they're prepped and know what to expect, where they need to be at what time, and are they going to have a stand for the microphone, or are they going to have to hold it? Is there going to be a place for them to put the script? Also, prep them a little bit beforehand to make sure that they tie in the ACS into their message if they're going to give a personal testimony type. If you've got a survivor or caregiver who's speaking, or a researcher, just so they can showcase how the ACS has impacted their journey. It's very important, I think, to have that. But as far as we're going to have the slides available after this, but Amy has put some great tips in there that go along somewhat with I have shared, but also some other things. And that adapt, I think, applies for relay period, because there's always going to be something that comes up that we probably have planned a little bit for, but not all together. So just think about that and know something's going to change, but not everybody knows what we had planned. So it's all fine. Breathe and go ahead with everything. So Amy, I'm going to let you, if you will, share your screen and walk us through the wonderful work that you and your work group have done. I think everybody's going to be so excited. People have been asking for this, and it's all going to be found on acsresources.org. It's my favorite website ever. I go to it multiple times a day, actually. So if you're not aware of it, you need to be. And Amy, without further ado, please take it over.
Awesome. Thanks, Suzy. I just want to make sure you can see the ACS resources screen that I moved over.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks. Thanks for all those tips. A lot of great things. As Suzy mentioned, there's a few things in the slides, but some really great tips. Obviously, Suzy has so much experience with this, so we appreciate you, Suzy, sharing all those tips that you have. So we are very excited to sort of unveil this new webpage that we have on ACS Resources. This page is all about ceremonies. So it has all different resources. We have ceremony guides to sort of walk you through what you need for a ceremony, how to prepare for a ceremony. And then we also have the script for each ceremony on here so that we wanted to give everybody sort of a base, right? Like I know sometimes it's hard. I actually write the ceremonies generally for my events in some years. So I know sometimes it's hard to sit at a blank screen and say, oh my gosh, like what do I want to say? What am I going to say? So in hearing a lot of feedback like that from a lot of volunteers and from some staff members, we really wanted to build these resources out so that you had one place to go, one place to see everything. And that it really was there for you. And then, of course, though, we do want you to make it your own. These will be here as a guide for you, but we want you to sort of take it, make edits, make it fit your theme of your event, make it fit your community, really whatever works for you. This is just a base for you. And then if your event or your volunteers are like, we don't know where to go, then this is here. You can pick it up and use it. It's all ready to go. So we're just going to walk through some of the resources. We're not going to sort of read through every single page, but I wanted to open up a few of them at least to show you. So you can see we have it broken down by ceremony. So we'll go ahead and start with the opening ceremony. So first we have this opening ceremony guide here, which again, kind of just walks you through the basics. What is the objective of the ceremony? What are some things I want to remember, right? We want to keep it brief. We want to do some recognition. We want to make sure when we're going to get into that first lap, are we explaining to people how that's going to work? Because if we just say, oh, first lap, like some people may have never been to your relay before. So we want to make sure we're really putting those details in there. We have some ceremony components here for you. We want to talk about the logistics of the ceremony. I know Suzy already touched on the sound system. That's super important. We want to make sure that the sound is good, it's clear. If I'm not standing right in front of the stage, we want to make sure people far away can hear what you're saying, can hear the announcements that you're calling them to the stage. So these are some things around logistics. And then some things that you might want to add in locally, and you may have other things to add in. These are just some examples. So maybe you want to sing the national anthem. Maybe you want to recognize your sponsors and your top fundraisers during the opening ceremony. Maybe that's not something that your event does during your opening ceremony, and that's okay too. So again, these are sort of the basics for you, and then we want you to take it and make it work for your event and your community. So that's what the guide looks like. And then I also want to show you the opening ceremony script. So we, this year, a little bit different. I know in the past, the scripts have usually been in PDFs. Well, the good thing, this year, what we tried to do is I can't make that bigger, sorry. We really wanted to put these in Microsoft Word this year. That way it's easier to edit. We definitely have heard the feedback that when we have it in a PDF and you try to copy and paste it to edit it, it kind of gets a little bit messed up in that copy and paste. So we really wanted to have everything in Word so that it's easier to edit for everyone out there. So again, we have some Some pre-event announcements for your MC. Again, these are all editable. We want you to put in here whatever makes sense for your event. And then as you dive in, I think most of you has probably seen, maybe have run an opening ceremony on your own. So again, certainly don't need to read it word for word. But you can see here we built in some mission, kind of explaining a little bit what some of the mission programs are, but also some of the impact that as Relay for Life participants that we have on these programs. So we build some of that into there. And then we go into, ideally we would have a survivor speaker during the opening ceremony, but of course, if you have other guest speakers, maybe you have the mayor of your town who comes and speaks at your event. You can feel free to, again, put those speakers in here wherever you think it makes sense. We do have some caregiver recognition in here. This is one example of how you can recognize caregivers at your event. And then we go into our survivor recognition, and then of course going into the opening lap. So again, we really just wanted to sort of make this plug and play, just really easy to use. So that's our opening. So we'll go through that. And then I see in the chat, we have a question, how did it open in Word? When you go to the ceremony and it opens in the window, Patricia, you should be able to hit the download button and then it'll open in Word once you download it. And if that doesn't work, just let us know in the chat and we can definitely help you out with that. So our next ceremony is the Luminaria ceremony. So again, very similar. We sort of created similar resources for each ceremony that we have. So in terms of the ceremony guides, very similar. It kind of walks you through the basics, the typical things, the components, the logistics, and then some add-ins and things like that. And then of course we have the script. So again, we don't necessarily need to go through every single script. If you want me to open them, I have them all open. I can sort of just show it to you. There we go. So this is our Luminaria script. Again, starting off with some announcements. We have just some general Luminaria script in here. And those types. And again, we want you to add your local elements. One thing I do want to point out is on this ACS resources page, what we have is we have these we're calling them sort of add-ins. So these are little additional pieces that if you want to add them into the base script, you're more than welcome. And again, you might have some of these that you already do at your event. So these are just some additional things if you want to add in this little Today We Walked item, A Year Without You poem. Some of you might have seen that before. It goes through the months of the year and talks about, things that happened during the month and how we were missing a person during that month. The empty table. So again, just some additional pieces of the ceremony that if you feel you want to add more to it, we have some examples there for you. Again, those are all in Microsoft Word too. You can just copy them and paste them right into your script. And then the closing ceremony, again, same thing. We have the guide. We have the guide for you here with the basics, the logistics, all the things you need to know. And then of course the script in Word and some additional add-in pieces here if you feel like you want to add. I know Suzy and I were talking yesterday and she was saying how they have started doing this bell ceremony. And the bell ceremony is one you might not want in your closing ceremony. Maybe you want to put it somewhere else. That's okay too. So any of these things, just because they're listed under a specific ceremony, if you want to put it somewhere else in your event, of course, you're more than welcome. We want you to be creative and make it work for you. So that's the basics of this page. We also have some additional resources down here. So again, just things that you might need, speaker how-to guides. Like Suzy said before, we want to make sure that any speakers that we have, that we're sort of coaching them a little bit. We want to make sure that they're hitting the right message within the ceremony, that they're tying it back to the American Cancer Society. We have a link to the Cancer Statistics Center. That link is also in the opening ceremony script for you to be able to pull your state cancer statistics and fill those in. But if you want more information, that Cancer Statistics Center has so much information, which is really fantastic. And then we have some social media assets here as well for you to promote your ceremonies in advance. Suzy, anything I missed on the page? I know we're going to get to the 40 Years of Impact ceremony in just a minute. Is there anything else on the page that you want me to call out or show?
I don't think so. I think you already brought up that they will need to be downloaded. I'm loving that they're
Yes.
Word documents. Amy, you guys did a fantastic job on all that so people can make it their own, like you said.
Yep.
And And we'll reiterate, it is for you to make it your own. This is just
Yes.
a great starting point for you to have, but hopefully it relieves a little bit of the stress. I've already got something to start with. Now I can make it my own.
Yes. And I'll just call out one more thing with all of these ceremonies. We got samples of ceremonies from events from across the country. We really wanted to see what was going on out there, what people were already doing so great. And so what we did was we kind of we reviewed tons and tons of scripts from different events across the country. We took some pieces from a lot of those scripts and kind of put it all together and made it work. So thank you to everyone who submitted scripts for us. A lot of your staff partners kind of took some of the scripts that volunteers had written and got them over to our group. So we really kind of wanted to take the best pieces of what was already going on out there and just kind of put it all together.
And if you have ideas, something that you think might be useful across the nation, reach out to me. I can put my email in the chat, or maybe Becky can. And we'll be happy to have hopefully add that to the page on ACS resources. But
Yeah, for sure.
again, yeah, thank you. So appreciate it. And I know you guys took a lot of time to put this together. So um, kudos, kudos. I do, if we'll move on for a little bit and then we'll have time for questions too. Wanted to talk about, okay, a bit slower. Show me the word. I can't read all
Oh,
Pat's.
no problem. Patricia, we can do that for you. No problem.
Um, so anyway, I did the costume change. I put on my t-shirt for this year, 40 years of impact. So this is the team captain shirt. Just got it today, so it was perfect timing. Because I wasn't going to get one, and then I thought, I'll get it. And I'm so happy I did. So 40 years of impact, you've been hearing it a lot this year. Hopefully everybody understands what a big deal it is. Not many events celebrate 40 years. It's really remarkable in this world of fundraising that an event can have this longevity. So we are celebrating 40 years, and we had a ceremony last year in Tacoma, Washington, the birthplace of Relay for Life, and we put that in to the ceremonies. So we also have lots of materials that we have track signs that can be printed locally. They're in uh, also 8.5 by 11, so a little less expensive. They can be color, black and white. We have all that collateral for you guys to use. I do so encourage you to incorporate some kind of 40th anniversary ceremony into your event this year, because it is a huge thing to celebrate. And we'll never have another 40th anniversary. So it is a once in a lifetime event. And there is a really cool timeline that shows that you can go on ACS resources, and it shows the progression of Relay through the years. In 85, Dr. Gordy Klatt, walked by himself trying to raise money for his local American Cancer Society office. He raised $27,000. He walked and ran the entire time. The cool part of the story that I like that doesn't get out much is his staff partner was walking with him a lot of the time, and he was walking backwards so they could talk to each other face to face about ideas Gordy was having. Well, Pat Flynn, the mother of Relay, comes out to see what's going on. She got there too late. The gate was already locked, but she watched and she thought, there's something about this. We can do more with this. And she had the idea to make it a team event. And so Relay for Life was born. But there's milestones like that all throughout. The timeline's really cool. It shows all of that. The ceremony is written as two people doing it. You can either have two volunteers or a volunteer and a staff partner. And you, again, make it your own. The ceremony walks through all of these important parts of Relay for Life. And again, you can take out or put in what means the most to you to make it as long or as short as you want to. And thank you, for pulling that up, Amy. But I really do encourage you. It's a neat thing to have, and it is a once in a lifetime thing for Relay for Life. I've got some pictures. I don't know if you can navigate to the pictures. These are some pictures that were taken at the Tacoma event. I've God bless Amy. So there are the signs that were made for the impact of 40 years. I think there's 20, some of them, maybe 21, 22. The left-hand corner, hopefully for you all, the man holding up the sign is Mark Flynn, Pat Flynn's son. So it was really cool to have him there and to represent and hold up the sign about his mother's legacy. And he was there all along watching her. And when she had trouble later on in her life with her health, he would bring her to meetings and everything. So it was really touching that he was able to be there and represent. But the top right hand, the two leads for the Tacoma event last year, Andy and Nicole, are on each corner holding up the signs. And it really was an impactful and neat thing to recognize that this is what's all brought us together. I would never have met Amy. I never would have met a lot of you that are on the call had it not been for Relay for Life. And it certainly has changed my life. It gave me a purpose and a meaning that nothing else did. And yeah, it's such a gift. I want to make sure that we can share that, and hopefully bringing this ceremony in and making people proud that they are relayers and look what their foundation is. And gosh, we can take it so much further and do so much more with it. One fun fact, I think we are at 6.9 billion raised in the 40 years of Relay for Life, and think about what those dollars have done and how it's impacted the mission and the research of the American Cancer Society. And pretty soon we'll hit that 7 billion number, and we'll have a lot to celebrate. Do we have any questions or anything in the chat?
No questions in the chat. I know, Patricia, you still have a question, and we will definitely help you out with that, but I don't see any other questions.
Okay, awesome. So if anybody's got any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. If you want to come off mute now and have anything for us.
No questions, but I love all the additional information.
Thank
I'm
you.
like you, Susie. I love and use this site often, and it's getting easier and easier by the year.
Good. Those search words can be a problem there, Pat.
You gotta limit. Don't type in the whole thing. Just type in a little bit of it and you'll find it.
Right.
Hey, Susie, this is Dawn. I have a question.
Hey, Donna.
Hi. Is that 40 years of impact, is that a banner that the ladies?
Yes, that they were holding. Yes. And
Okay, is that something we can order?
I think that you have to have that printed locally. I know all of the signs you can have printed locally. Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, or if
Yes, we can have, I think actually they might be on the 40 Years of Impact website.
I know the signs are.
Signs are there.
I am not sure about the banner.
The banner is not.
Okay. We can work with your staff partner, Donna, and make sure that you get all of that information and the template for that banner and everything.
I was going to ask my group. I just really like that banner. and so yeah, I can work with Amanda. I haven't asked her yet, because I guess I really hadn't seen it and realized it was a banner.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to include that picture too, so you can see that. And maybe you can get somebody to sponsor the banner printing for you too, so it won't be as an expense back to your event.
Yes.
And you may already have somebody that does banners for you at a good price.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, we have used somebody before, so yeah, I will check on that.
Okay. And yeah, if you don't hear anything, holler back and we'll
Sure.
try to get with your staff and get something done. Yeah, good point, Pat. You can share it between relays and help defray the costs. Awesome. Anybody else? Because it's time for that shameless plug for the next training if you don't have any more questions. We're not ashamed of it.
No more questions?
Again, this will be recorded and all that stuff's out on ACS resources. So download away, my friends.
Yes.
So
All
our
right.
next training that is scheduled is April 8th at 6 Central Time. You don't get your times mixed up. Hopefully you've all heard about the Voices of Black Women study that is being conducted. American Cancer Society has done several studies on large scale. And like, if anybody's heard of the CPS-3 cancer prevention study, that is actually still ongoing. And this is focused on Black women, and we're trying to get over 100,000 Black women registered for this study, because most studies are they're on white men, and there's such a disparity between Black women will be diagnosed fewer, but their mortality rate is higher on a lot of cancers. So we need to study that and figure out what's going on. So we are going to have a special training on that. We have the lady, excuse me, the employee, our staff partner, Eunice Larby, who is part of that, who's going to be on and share with us, and another one of our relayers, William Reddick, who's a nationwide Relay for Life leadership team, who are going to be on and share his story about his mom. So it's really neat. And the reason we got so many people enrolled in the CPS-3 study and others is because Relay did it. And we know relayers take this stuff to heart and can help us get more people enrolled and engaged in this study, because it's very important. It needs to be done. So I just wanted to share that, and I've said too much, but hopefully you can share it and get it out, and we can have more people on it. So yes, Pat, it is, Virginia is one of but they've opened it up now to the entire nation voices. So we're really excited about that too. So anybody else think of anything? Questions? How are your brackets doing, friends? Hopefully I've got you back so you can finish the games. You only play the first half to get to the